Hello, this is Biomorphia, and I kind of wanted to do a little quick tutorial as a reminder to myself mainly of how I set up these transporters. And there's some other animation going on, but these were a challenge for me because I had not really worked with parameters and transitions that much. So anyway, I wanted each of these to start in a hover position, and then I wanted it to get called to the dock, and then whatever animation, wherever it goes, happens, it redocks either here or somewhere else. And then I wanted everything to go back to the original hover position. So this is how I did that. Let's turn off the play. Let's focus on this one. This is number 3. And number 3 transport, that's the location. It just rotates in place, so it does not have the kind of animation this other one did that you saw moving around. And on the next level, it has this box collider, which is what the player will be parented to. I did try moving that up to the top level to see if it was any more effective, and I did not notice any difference. So I moved it back just to keep the animator level clean or whatever. So anyway, so here's my setup. The default goes into this hover position where it just rotates in place. And so that's an animation, choose the speed. And then when you step on this trigger, it does have a reactor on it, and when you step on that trigger, the dock up down, this will dock and the pedals come down. I guess I could show you the animation that happens. It's way faster and it doesn't repeat, but that gives you an idea what it does. And so, in fact, it's like 0.15 is how much slower it is. So anyway, so when you step on that, these conditions are met. It's true. The trigger, where is it? The reactor is true. And so you step onto the transporter with the pedals down, and then you hit another reactor. So when you step onto the transporter, 2 things happen. You leave this one, and I found I did need to do an exit trigger where you end the call. And the reason to end the call is so it doesn't just keep cycling around. It'll just keep calling and going, and I did not want that. I wanted at the end of this to go back to hover and to have the call over completely. So that's how I did that. I put this as false to end the docking. So then after, the other thing that happens when you step onto this transporter is that it has this reactor on here. So when you enter this reactor, it sets the next animation in place. So dock 3 tour, and then so you do your tour, and this automatically transition. It has a set exit time. There's no triggers or anything. It automatically, after the tour is over, goes and it redocks and opens the pedals. So it's this same animation down here. That happens automatically, and then this happens automatically too. It just returns to hover. Now that's a pretty simple thing. It's not that big a deal, but what I found was when other things happen, I couldn't get it to go back to hover. So that's where I changed some things. The one thing that's probably the most important is the entry sets off the tour, but what happens if you exit at any point in the tour? I wanted it to go back to hover. So that's why I put an exit of false for the tour. And so that way, if you fall off or jump off or whatever, it'll go back to hover and just it will stay up there. Ow, ow, ow. Sorry. So anyway, and then the other things that happened were, let's see, I'm missing. Did I forget something? Current state. I put current state on there because I added this back to hover from the docking. And the reason I did that is if you just step on here and step off and don't get on the transport, then it just stays, it's okay, but it stayed docked, which was fine. But I just wanted it to go back to hover. So I did put this back to hover thing, and the interruption source I put as the current state. And so what happens is if we go to this, you'll see that the dock to tour, that's higher up than this transition over here. That's the 2 inch. And so this is priority. But what happens is if you never trigger that, then the current state would be this back to here because you didn't trigger that. I think I'm not the current state is still or all the conditions. I'm still sort of I experimented quite a bit, but I want to learn more about that. So anyway, if you step on it, step off, it's going to go back to hover. So that's what I wanted. Again, if you jump off, it's going to go back to hover. And if you just stay on, it's going to go back to hover after you get off of it. I did not have to add an end dock for this or end anything because that's the natural state of what's going to happen between this one and that one. There's nothing else going on. So I learned a lot because I messed around with animation and with the Animator window, but I really had not delved into it this much, and I definitely wanted to do more. But that's there's some other animations on here. There's a shadow show you can trigger back here, but all the other animations pretty much are just repeating. And I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Yeah, that's it.